Along, South Africans beg Nigerians for forgiveness over xenophobic attacks. Now, there's a video that's been making rounds online which captured moment. A whole lot of South Africans engaged in a peaceful demonstration to beg Nigerians and citizens of other African countries for forgiveness over the xenophobic attacks. They sang and they marched through the streets and also held up banners which called for unity amongst Africans. Let's quickly go take a look at that video. We'll be right back.
South Africa, they are protesting for peace. That's no more xenophobia. That Nigeria should forgive them. Nigeria should forgive them. Wow. Oh, there is peace now, oh God. They said we should forgive them. Oh. They said Nigeria should forgive them. They said Nigeria should forgive them. There is peace now. They say all over the world, forgive them. There is peace. They said we should forgive them. There is peace all over the world. No more xenophobia. No more killings in Nigeria, South Africa. Look at whites protesting. Chai, Ken, there is no more fight again, oh. There is peace all over the world, oh. The very whites, they say there is peace in South Africa, there is peace all over the world, all over South Africa. They say there is peace.
Welcome back and thanks for joining us again. All right, gentlemen, I'm sure we've all seen this video. I mean, the whole of the weekend. This was, I don't know what to call it, whether it's in line with some sort of comic relief or what, but supposedly South Africans are now begging for forgiveness. What do we think? Is this genuine?
No, you see, the truth of the matter is that they said xenophobia is not widespread, supposedly, in South Africa, in my view.
Really?
Because if you watch this leader, this what's the name? Malema. Malema, you know, in fact, during this period, I've come to listen to him now calmly to analyze it, and I now know the perspective he's coming from. He's opposed to this, you know, and he's drawing the attention back to the old South Africa, where they were coming from, and where they were like, you know, pariahs even in their own society, and they got support from these African brothers. So for me, it's a welcome development. Reason being that South Africa of today is not the South Africa of the old that they were born in, and so what they are trying to do is to distance themselves from the hatred that exists, to say, look, it's not all of us as it were. We are different. This is not our belief. This is not our style.
It's just a section.
It's section, okay. and that's the point, the message you're trying to pass. Yeah, and because some of us have friends who are in South Africa, we have cousins and we have business partners who are in South Africa, and they are alarmed by this, you know, and that is why that the government now is
Let's
taking.
Be clear, they are alarmed at what?
At what?
The attacks.
Yeah, the attacks. The attacks. So that is why the diplomatic moves by their leadership now, by the South African leadership, is being, you know, welcomed by some persons, because look, it appears you've been quiet all this while. But now you're taking you must show leadership. You must show proper direction for the way things to go. So you can see that the diplomatic shot, and that was why when the Nigerian government recalled the Nigerian ambassador, it was a good move. It was a diplomatic way of saying, you know, enough is enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Fosse, what do you think? You think this would actually atone for all the Nigerian lives lost in the recent attacks?
Well, we can't completely exhaust this discussion on xenophobia against other African nationals, because from what I am seeing in South Africa, I think South Africans, the local South Africans, are not attacking the whites or those other colors apart from black. That's why they call it black on black crime, right? Well, I don't think this is going to obviously placate the people that are aggrieved. How I wish the people that have been carrying out the attacks are the people protesting for peace. You know that in Nigeria, as a matter of fact, if today we have a protest against the government, while the people that are protesting against the government are on the other side, you will see police giving protection to those people in the other protest that are protesting for the government. Maybe this is a protest for the government, all right? That we are supporting what the South Africans are doing. I mean, the South African government is doing. Obviously, I've not seen what the government has done. This is not going to go too far because it's not the action of the government. What the rest of Africans are looking forward to is to see how serial there is a South African president okay. Take serious action. See that those who are perpetrating this act are arrested, prosecuted, and eventually jailed. That's what they want to see. Because there is no deterrent on all this peace. Come back, don't go, there is peace in South Africa. It's just, we are just mouthing it. You understand? This is not going to go too far. Yes, people could put themselves together and say, maybe people of good interest, have good conscience, who also have businesses in other part of the world, would say, in other part of Africa, would say, if we allow this thing to continue like this, we may be at the receiving end at the end of the day, because those shareholders in Nigeria, in DSTV, in Stanbic IBTC, Standard Chartered, ShopRite, at the end of the day, if they don't do something about it. That's why when you go around their offices, their corporate offices, you see that we are not in support of xenophobia. They put it there white and clear for you to tell you, because they have an interest. So I think the government should do something right. It's beyond just citizens' protest or peaceful march. It's actually beyond that, because these are the people that have no powers to confront these guys, the other guys.
Okay. But I think this will put their government under pressure. Of course. Show their government as well that a certain section of our society are opposed to this.
Of course, Peter, I think what should have actually put government under even more under pressure should be the attack on other people. Okay. When you see that, not even a peaceful protest, because the government itself is. I'm sorry to say that it's irresponsible of that government not to actually take an action. This thing has been brewing for some of the people that came up today and begin to speak about xenophobia as if it just broke out yesterday. It's not true. Xenophobic attack has been there as long as we all know. Abi?
Sure.
So can I ask a question though, gentlemen? Do you think the African countries that were affected, by the attacks, do you think would readily forgive the South Africans, this time around? Because let's take a case in study. On Saturday in Harare, that's Zimbabwe's capital, the president of South Africa was booed, while he was addressing people at Mugabe's funeral service and all of that. I mean, that depicts, the mood of some of these Africans to what recently took place.
If the South African president came down to Nigeria today, they would boo him. The point is that people are venting their anger to his inactivity or inability to actually, stop these people. Just like some of us are saying, hang on, the government of the day in Nigeria is not doing enough to address the issue of insurgency, Fulani headsmen, kidnapping and all that. So we're saying government can do better. Government should have done this. So that's the same attitude. Okay? So if I were him, I wouldn't have gone for the Mugabe funeral.
Yes,
his security team should have given him security report. Do you understand? For me, he shouldn't even leave South Africa now. Not that anybody is going to attack him. Nobody will attack him. But the public relation backlash for him is not.
No, I will not agree with you. I also believe that it could be his own way of trying to tell South Africans that even your president is not safe in other country the way you are carrying on. Do you understand? Your president is not. If it's in developed country, they would have pelted him with some egg and the rest of it. That shows that Africans are actually very matured and civilized now by just booing. Because something like that cannot happen, and you are not pelted with stones and the rest of it, or egg and tomato and the rest of it.
Get that.
So
right.
now I think that beyond African booing their presidents, I think us, the people that these things are affected, should also sit down and ask ourselves, how can we see all of these things? I keep saying there is a proverb in my place that when you chase away the kites, you come back and tell the mother hen, keep your children within your ears.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Because you are not going to, at the end of the day, begin to blame the mother hen without chasing away the kites. Do you understand?
Okay.
So we should also look at what is happening here.
Decisive action on the part of the South African president. He has just dispatched special envoys to 7 African countries after what happened in Zimbabwe on Saturday. The special envoy will brief governments in the identified African countries about the steps that the South African government is taking to bring a stop to the attacks and to hold the perpetrators to account.
That's the right diplomatic move to make, and it is now. It's usually the first step that happens before you kind of renew your diplomatic ties with the country. I've recalled our our ambassador of South Africa, the High Commissioner to South Africa. It's clear that we have diplomatic issues. So by this diplomatic move, is an olive branch, so to speak, and is like you said, is going to explain the South African approach to addressing this, what they have done and what they now hope to do, and then they can now exchange agreements and views on how it can go before Nigeria now sends back, or any other country that has recalled the ambassador send back their ambassador to the said country. Like I said, is the right diplomatic move to make.
And it came very belated for me, because I ask myself, if Cyril didn't go to Zimbabwe and he got booed, so wouldn't have sent that?
No, I don't think it was because he went to Zimbabwe. Because he was booed in Zimbabwe. That's why he now sent the envoy. No.
He did that because that actually comes after he was booed.
No, but it's not true.
No, it may be true.
No, it's not true. It's not because he was booed.
It may be true.
No,
wait now.
That's infantile.
No, it might not be. It might not be infantile. It may be true. He may also see that I am not secured as a president of South Africa in other country. Because all along, I keep asking myself, what did Cyril and Buhari discuss in Aso Rock when this thing was going on in South Africa? When he visited us, what did they discuss?
All right, let's look at viewers' response once again. Margaret from Oregon says, morning patience, the so-called apology coming from South Africa is not genuine. They are only doing it now that they know what is at stake for their country. What about those lives they've wasted? They are simply calling us Nigerians fools, and I know that our government will fall for it. It's a pity other countries see us as their goats they can kill at will. Harsh there, but thank you, Margaret, for sending that one in. All right, this other one says, good day all. I want us to understand some things concerning the South African. Do you know that some masters will tell their servants not to sell on credit, even their relatives and friends, and when their relatives come for credit, they will direct them to their servants, but they have given instructions. Please, the apology is fake, and that's what some of our leaders are doing. May God bless Nigeria. D. Uka sends that one in. This other one says the military right now is overdosed with corruption, especially at the leadership levels, which is ready to do anything at all for money, including compromise. All right, my brother, I love your judgment. It is a good one. Which one of the brothers? We need to know. All right, gentlemen, our time is almost up. Can I have a summary quickly of what we've discussed today? Mr. Fossey.
I feel that beyond the crocodile tears that South Africans are shedding right now in their homeland, Nigerian government shouldn't fall for it. They should also engage the government, because at this level is a government-government relationship, and find a way how we can live peacefully. I am not one of those people that will ask that Nigerians should leave South Africa and come back to Nigeria, because at the end of the day, from what I was reading in the paper, Nigerian government, they were giving our people airtime and megabyte. And
all right, the person is back. So the brother is referring to his offset. All right, go ahead. Okay, Mr. Simon.
I'll just get a shot at the VAT thing. You know, like somebody said, I've forgotten his name, one of the viewers said that government should reduce the cost of governance, you know, to save money. I quite agree with that. So beyond just increasing VAT, you can equally reduce cost of governance to save money in that area, so that people will now know how very sincere you are in terms of all that. So that's my take on that.
Okay. All right. Lastly, on the viewers' feedback, why poor people are suffering in Nigeria. Nigerians are too simple. Government must do something to elevate poverty in Nigeria. What about those people killed by the South Africans? 1, no employment. 2, poor salary. 3, high food price. 4, no security. Master Omotoye. Thank you so very much, Mr. Godio, for coming out today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peter.
Thank you, Patience.
Really good to have you back.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewers, for all your contributions. It was indeed a great outing today. Tomorrow, same time, we'll be back. Hope you join us again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.